last place in the world you'd expect to hear a complimentary comment regarding a Tory government would be here in Liverpool. Some credit, particularly from anglers, is long overdue to this man, Michael Heseltine. This is Liverpool city centre, and behind me is Liverpool Marina. Though I've lost the accent now, I am a Scouser by birth, something which has prompted comments like, the River Mersey is the arsehole of Britain with Liverpool stuck 3 miles up it. There was a time when that may well have been true, but not anymore. Back in 1981, in the aftermath of the Toxteth riots, Secretary of State for the Environment, Michael Heseltine, described Toxteth and the adjacent Mersey as an affront to the standards expected in a civilised society. As a direct consequence, £4 billion was earmarked for coastal and river regeneration throughout the entire northwest of England, leading to scenes like this eventually becoming pretty much a thing of the past. Fish are opportunists, and the good news is that they've been particularly quick to take up Mr. Heseltine's investment. Some fish have always been present in and around the estuary, but tough regulation of wastewater and discharges throughout the entire Mersey catchment has encouraged fish at both ends of the river to recolonise every available square inch of new living space the moment it has been opened up to them. The species list is staggering, the headline inclusion being salmon, which now spawn in the upper tributaries. This is Sandon Dock wastewater treatment works, of itself not responsible for where we are today, but systematic of the commitment that has led to it. Raw sewage, which was previously discharged straight into the river, was diverted here for treatment in 1991. Industrial discharges have also been regulated, peeling back layers of pollution from the very biggest companies right down to the one-man band. Amazingly, from running sewer to running salmon has taken barely 13 years. This invasion by fish from the sea has not been something they suddenly decided to do on a whim or part of some natural cycle. Cod, whitings, bass, plaice, soles, rays and many other sought-after species have now been coaxed back into the saline stretches of the river, to the extent that the Mersey is now one of the most important sea angling venues in the entire country. This is New Brighton Beach, a small but excellent patch of firm sand. Cars regularly put boats in here, but I wouldn't recommend it, particularly for the retrieve when trailer wheels bedding into the wet sand when winching on can cause the car wheels to dig in as well. There is a tractor on hand for launching, though most people use their own four-wheel drive vehicles. New Brighton is on the Wirral side of the estuary, so the prevailing southwesterly wind comes off the land. It can get a bit bumpy immediately adjacent to the beach, but when you start making your way inland, conditions are usually not something that's going to cause you a problem. The winter codding here normally runs on through into the new year, sometimes even as late as March, but November through into January is the key time. Small to middle-range tides fish the best, for reasons that will become apparent in due course. It is possible to fish the bigger tides, but only for 4 to 5 hours over the slacker periods. A big heavy anchor with lots of chain is essential here, dropped in close along the margins out of the main shipping lane. It's advisable to attach the chain to the base of the anchor as shown here, and to trip it with cable ties at the top, as there are some pretty severe snags dotted about the place. Over high water, wash from big ships coming within a few hundred yards can be a nuisance, particularly on an already bumpy day. It might look as if the boat is actually travelling here, but it's not. That's the force of the current, even on a neat tide, which demonstrates why the bigger tides need to be avoided. For drop-down fishing, you'll need leads of a pound and more fished on braid, and even then at peak flow you may not hold. It depends where in the river you choose to fish. Uptiding with plenty of grip is a way of life in these parts. Not so much because of the scur area around the boat, though that is a factor too. Grip leads are often the only way of making sure you're holding bottom, which is crucial in coloured water, as that's where all the feeding activity takes place. Over the slacker periods, small baits will bring up an endless stream of whiting and dabs, but when it's cod time, a 4-foot flowing trace rigged as a pennel loaded with black lug and squid is the preferred option. The average stamp of winter cod here is probably 2 to 3 pounds. And what the whiting lack in size, they certainly make up for in numbers.
Yeah, just a small codling.
The summer and autumn fishing can also be productive too.
Ah, strap conger.
Rays in particular can be quite a handful, helped by the ferocity of the tide.
Go on, get your back into it. It's showing now.
There are also bass, plaice and soles in the river over the warmer months for those taking the trouble to look for them.
I know many other city centres can offer attractions like these.
Dave Devine and I are lucky as we own our own boat. Not everybody is in that fortunate position.
Just short of 8.5 pounds.
For non-boat owners, the city offers excellent charter facilities too. Here, boats are waiting to exit the lock at Coburg Dock Marina. You couldn't be fishing any more in the city centre than this.
Well, the main advantage, Phil, or the main benefit of fishing in the river is the weather conditions that we get away with. We've just been given 42 knots of wind over the radio from the southwest, and as you can probably see in the background, the conditions aren't too bad. The other main benefit is the fish that we catch. There's some very, very good cod. Best one last year was £21, which was caught by one of the anglers that just happens to be on the boat today. He caught that on the Warrior. The average run of fish we get in the river, £2 to £3, up to about £7, with a few good double fish to follow. Quite a few thornback rays, double figures, strap congers, whiting, some very, very good whiting, and dabs. Really, the main benefit is the weather that you get away with. Goes for the fish. Not what we're after, but it's a thornback ray. Very much like a ray, isn't it? It's coming backwards, that's what the problem is, like, yeah. Yeah, at the moment we've got about 2 knots of tide running here. The fish is coming in backwards, so he's having a bit of a struggle with it. That's one of the disadvantages of fishing on the river. Yeah.
The rays were coming aboard at the rate of 1 per cast at one stage, but it was the cod that we were after.
So now I'll get my T-bar.
Eventually, reasonable numbers did come on the feed.
There you go, we've got a cod at last.
As the trip came to a close, the wind got up to 53 knots, which is force 11, and still the fishing comfortably continued. How many other venues, I wonder, can offer such good fishing with access to it virtually regardless of the weather? Equally, how many other venues have enjoyed the benefit of a £4 billion cash injection from public funds? The simple answer is, probably not enough.